So, Poison Seismic Trap, again, survived the patch notes, even though Pathfinder changed quite a bit. And this is once again a little bit of a reminder that the skill exists and can be used quite nicely as, yeah, basically a Pathfinder starty thing, but has a bit of a bossing focus or like invitation focus. And yeah, not too much changed about it, and honestly, I'm gonna go into POB real quick. I just wanted to give you a little bit of gameplay because people liked it, so you can, you know, look at like how the skill roughly looks. Can already talk a bit about the specific character. This one is like really scuffed like it was last time. I don't even think it's resistance capped. Oh, it is actually, but it's not suppression capped. It's like a roughly a 2 million, maybe 3 million character. It's not meant to be that super exact. I just wanted to you know have some footage. It's also roughly a mid 80 character. Like it's 94 and has 6 points left, but has done the kill all thing. We can also have a lot at the boss. I don't believe the single target damage is too high on this one right now, but just to give you an idea how this looks, and mainly on, like, this is a T16 map, right? And the mods are not too weak either, and there's temporal chains apparently. It's kind of okay-ish, and it kind of survives. Obviously this guy is gonna be a bit tougher, especially if he like moves around and gets out of the traps. As I said, this is like a 2, maybe 3 million character. Kind of works. You know how this one works by now. I don't think I have to show too much Poison Seismic Trap either. I wanted to really quickly talk about the character and basically what changed a little bit, and then we go into the POB. Like this one here is, as said, it's a turn on the Flask. It's obviously relying on Flask. Yes, I had a taste of hate, but still it's not suppression capped and the damage isn't too high. All this gear is kind of crap. It doesn't have a +1 here. There's no plus stuff here. And I don't even know what else is on it. I posted this POB as well. I'm just going to post you this POB. It's not that important, just wanted to show you a little bit. And quickly talk about the main change. Basically, we have going into the new league here is the flasks, obviously. Right, this is still all old flask. So basically this one has, where is it? Well, it's just mostly, it doesn't even have that. But these have 20% less fire damage taken and 50% resistance, or like the less damage taken and the 50 resistance. Now it's going to be 40 resistance and +5 max res. So on the very high end, which this character will never be, this is a nerf, but early on it's either the same or maybe a little bit of a buff, except for penetration, obviously. It's having a bit with that. That means we need a little bit more resistance on our gear. That will be the main difference, as well as there's this the actual POB suggests that you get a flask that has this all resistance suffix. That one got lower as well, so you just need more. You just need a little bit more resistance. And let's have a look at the POB actually. But just the one I will post you here. Compared to last time, I added a little bit more notes, especially regarding intelligence and bandits, and adjusted some of the crafting notes. Again, this is not like for beginners or anything. This is really just for people that either really like the skill, have some experience with it, and want to use it basically as a poison-based Pathfinder starter, right? So you're going to be rather quick through the campaign. You level with P-Conk, obviously, or I believe you should level with P-Conk until 80 because it's so comfy, and then swap and just have the regrets, which is fine. You can swap early as well. But yeah, people that want to be rather quick through the campaign, want to start very early, invitation farming, maybe, stuff like that. Make some bank early on and then just move on to a different build, or go crazy and invest like super deep, which I also show you some POB. So this is more an example than an actual follow the step-by-step thing. I kind of expect you to have some experience. That's also why it's in the note. This is not for beginners, for the people that just like it. Also, you notice this character is like level 98, which is way too high. Part of the reason is that I would suggest that you go Alira early. It's probably a really good idea this time around because of the additional resistance you need, and then swap off it later. And still it's 98 because I wanted to have like the points in that are cool, so you can like consider for yourself what parts of the tree you want to drop for that, how you want to build that. It's more of a suggestion. Obviously you need to drop something. You cannot be 98. You need to be more like 94 maybe, and you start off obviously like mid 80. I believe would be a pretty good starting point. So yeah, what changed? PUB updated, by the way. You need to know the newest version here. The Flask got way weaker now, but we have a bunch more resistance now, max res, so that's just fine. It's more about the actual resistance values, including this one here, the 16 additional elemental resistance during effect. That was like in the almost 40 before, like 30 something. So there's like a big difference. So we need to kind of compensate. I try to keep the items still simple. This one is still the same. Should be easy enough to actually craft if you get like a fracture here. I put more resistance on the items, and you kind of keep in mind that these resistance values are not that low. That's like 40 resistance. These are pretty high resistances. So crafting that gear might be a little bit more tricky than before. That's also why I suggest like this overcapping. Like there's some leeway in there right now with including a Lyra, right? And I mean, very early on, I don't think you need 83 resistance. You don't need to actually cap too far above AV. That's kind of fine. But yeah, so yeah, these have rather high resistance values now. I still believe they are quite craftable. Like even something like this, obviously you would want a fracture, but yeah, either like a live fracture or ideally a suppression fracture. But it's on pure evasion base, so it's way better and cheaper than having that on a armor evasion base, right? It's just pure evasion anyway. So this should still be quite achievable. And on the amulet, I put some resistance here, but I didn't put any additional on the ring in here. So you have like between amulet, ring, and maybe even belt, because you probably belt's probably a bad target, but between amulet and ring, you should be kind of fine. You can also drop some chaos resistance, you know, not have an amethyst base, if that makes resistance a little bit easier. But yeah, there's some leeway, and honestly, worst case, you just have a different amulet and you just don't have the +1 there early on, right? Just like, okay, let's fix some resistance there to have like live double resist and trap throwing speed. Maybe that's a really good way of doing it. Also keep in mind, in terms of resistance, part of the resistance comes in the PUB comes from the endurance charges here. So you get like 8 resistance from having endurance charges, but that's on kill, so you don't always have that. You know, you need to kind of double check here. And if you uncheck this, then it's basically a Lyra. This is the overcap, but that means you need the actual like really good values here. So yeah, that's the main thing that actually changed. To be fair, other than that, it should still be super fine. Obviously, this is not the most popular version. I just don't like dying that much, so this is a rather defensive, doesn't have all that much damage version. Also here, there's a little bit of fake thing in here with the damage. There's a +2 on the lightning coil, and I believe in the PUB it's already a 6 link. Yes, it is. So yeah, the character you've seen earlier was more like 2 million DPS and was like on a 5 link. This is more of a reminder, not to get like a +2 if you can. You can also obviously skip that, and that's gonna hurt your damage. The same with like getting stuff rid on your tree. But yeah, not trying to bait anybody, but it's more of an example thing. It's not a follow it step by step. Other than that, I have 2 more PUBs here that I will post you. They are from one is from day 2 of Affliction Duel, whatever, from PoE Ninja, more as examples, right? That's not what I recommend you do, but if you want to, you can go for a version like this. It's pretty much exactly just ripped off from PoE Ninja. Obviously, this has way more damage, but it also kind of dies probably, right? So it's like not a suppression cap, but you can fix that pretty easily actually by getting the 15 suppression here for if everything has like evasion, because on the items this guy has at that specific mode in time. You can probably replace these gloves with an evasion staff, and also get some suppression on it, so you cap rather easily. You just need to move maybe a bit of the energy shield somewhere, and you might need to fix your resistances then, so kind of back and forth. But yeah, you can fix that. It's just like a significantly more volatile and brutal version of the build. It doesn't really care if it dies or doesn't. It just has so much more damage. That's an option. It's obviously double cold iron point dendrobate version. He's also even getting eternal struggle here for the. I mean, the stats are helpful, but also for the kill enemies lower than the culling strike. Basically, a really good culling strike in here, and he has some cluster as well. The only thing I changed from last league, what he had on PoE Ninja, is I removed the Sense Rebirth because Unholy Might has changed. And I think I posted it somewhere and was really excited, like, oh wow, this is buffed, perfect. And no, it's not. I was just too dumb to read. I mean, it's really cool for some builds, right? But for this, doesn't matter. I thought the new Unholy Might reads like 100% extra Fizz as extra chaos damage, but it's conversion. It's not like before that they gave like 30% Fizz as extra chaos, and now it's just converting 100%. So that's like completely different. And it was too dumb to read, so it's not like yeah. That's why I don't think you take this anymore. It doesn't really make sense. But what it did to compensate is I changed this to an amethyst flask, and you can obviously have some suffixes on it. And it just changed from Nature's Boon to Master Distiller, just as kind of an idea. I've seen other people do that. Yeah, you have an amethyst flask, and you just get the 25% versus extra chaos. But obviously you use Nature's Boon. But these brutal versions, they don't really care about Nature's Boon either. Resistances are fixed completely different anyway. So yeah, before that he had Nature's Boon and had Sense Rebirth. So you can play around with that and check out his profile on PoE Ninja as well. There's obviously also some progression. You can see what people are doing with it. Even though I believe this one just made some money here and then moved on to being a Deadeye in Affliction. So that's one of the paths you can go. So yeah, I posted this one for sure. That's more like a more volatile, brutal version that I wouldn't suggest, but other people like that. And I post you some week 4 of a guy named Shiny Seismic, or his character is named that one. I took this from week 4 because I kind of liked it. This is like an example of if you really want to invest into the build and go further and further, then you have to look up some stuff on PoE Ninja, what people are doing. Keep in mind here, I haven't changed anything here, I believe, since Rebirth is still in. So that one would need to be changed. The resistance stuff changed, so you need to adjust for that because it's really close already. So maybe you need to do some fixes there, and you need to keep in mind that this one has culling here, obviously, but it has the charm still in, so you need to compensate for stats here, definitely for the reservation efficiency. Maybe you can drop banner and make it work that way. Maybe you find it some other place, and here's some spell suppression that would go missing, but he's not at 100% anyway. He's using lucky, but still there needs some fixes here, and obviously the poison duration is crazy, but it has so much damage anyway. And in general, what this is a diadem version to, not get this stuff, and he doesn't have Whispers of Doom because of Anathema, which is really cool. It's like these triple curse situation. Other than that, he has really, really good gear, and part of it is obviously these daggers, similar to the EK ones. We did last league, or I did last league. You can craft that, but more of an inspiration, like how could a really endgamey version of this build look like. Also, he's using Master Surgeon in this case to for a region. You can also you can still go probably Master Distiller in the setup and get an Amethyst in instead of Rebirth, but then your recovery needs to be different. You need to play around with this. I'm not gonna do any guide on this, but just a little bit of an example. What you're getting here is it's basically a reminder, right? If you like the build, there's so much resources for it out there. It still exists. It's still pretty easy to do. You just level with Pekonk, then you slap on your trap staff, and you make some bank early on, and then maybe do something different, touch some grass, who knows. Okay, bye.